Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, we're heading into the spring selling season, so how do home sellers prepare to present their homes, and what should they do when they're expecting a showing?
Well, Richard, I would say, the ideal scenario is to put your house on the market and have all the stars align within the first 2 weeks of it going on the market. If you're getting a contract within the first 2 weeks, then you've done something right. You've priced it right, you marketed it right, everything's great. But if not, then it's off. There has to be a correction, and it should be made quickly. In general, the buyers are looking for the best home at the best price, and they know price. I think they know price better than real estate agents. Just the other day, I got feedback from some agent, that obviously told her buyer that the home wasn't worth that much. Now, it's unfortunate that she did that. I think agents' job is to sell homes, not talk buyers out of homes. I don't know why they do that other than to try to position themselves as alleged experts. But, at the end of the day, the data doesn't lie. According to Zillow, 72% of agents sold 0 homes last year, and a majority are only selling 2 or 3. So how do they know what the value is, And why is there a buyer there anyway if it's not worth that much? Because that's what buyers do. They vote with their feet. If they don't think it's priced right, they wouldn't be there. So I don't know. I don't understand why agents say that, but it kind of gets under my skin, as you can tell. So when someone wants to see your home, what do you want to do? First of all, the first showing is online. That's what I meant when I just said they vote with their feet. Zillow has a saying, screen appeal is the new curb appeal, meaning they are deciding based on the online presentation. It's not just the pictures, it's the description, it's the price. They will not even show up if they don't like it. Okay, that's how it works these days. It was different years ago before the pictures were really good quality, where you'd have to get with an agent and they would decide what homes you'd go to see, and the agent had a say. But now that's not the case at all. The buyers are deciding based on what they're seeing in the marketplace right now. So your agent has to make sure it's properly presented in the first place. So that's number one. So when you have a showing scheduled, you want to make sure a lot of agents and buyers would prefer that the seller not be home. And the reason for that is they want to walk around the house and talk about the home, and feel free to give constructive feedback. Because when I'm showing a home, and I will tell you, I want the buyer to tell me what they like and what they don't like. That way, if that's not the home for them, I can find it, right? But generally, I'm not finding it. They're deciding. And most of them are really good at giving me feedback on what they like and don't like. And sometimes it's strange reasons. You want to make sure you take pets out. Now, there's certain pets you can't take, like if they're in an aquarium or something, you can't take those. I see scorpions on the slide. I actually had a client that had scorpions in a fish tank, but thank God they moved out before we put it on the market, because I think that would have been unappealing. I've had clients that had a big giant boa constrictor in the tank, and I've asked them, it just doesn't show well to have those creatures in the house. Kids, too many cars parked outside, a pile of remotes on the counters, prescription meds. Now, why is this important? There are people that, well, let me back up. Buyers will say, oh, I love that house, I want to see that house, right? Most agents are not obligated to verify the buyer can buy, right? So a lot of agents, since there aren't very many sales going on with most agents, they do what I call Pop-Tart. They pop out of the toaster and go show the home without really vetting whether or not the buyer can buy, has the financial ability to buy, or anything about them. And as an example, the number one search website in the country is Zillow. They have 64% of the buyers' eyes on their website. If you click that blue button on Zillow, you're going to get some random agent that really doesn't know the house. They're just paying for leads on Zillow. But what they offer to the buyer is, would you like to schedule a viewing? So what do you think the buyer's expecting? A viewing. They don't want to be vetted. They don't want to show that they can buy a house. They want the agent to open the door. That's all they want. So if that person may be unscrupulous and might be looking for things like prescription meds or jewelry or anything like that, I would say a majority of agents don't check. They don't meet them at the office. They don't check their ID. They roll the dice and show up at the door and hope everything is going to work out. So it's really, really important that you secure any information, any kind of stuff that might be a theft item, little things that they could steal, prescription medications, guns, money, anything like that. Also, put away mouse traps for the showing. Pet bowls don't really show that well. And then, of course, valuables. I've got lots of stories, not too many, fortunately, about valuables. Okay, so sometimes the agents will show up late. Sometimes they'll show up early. Sometimes they won't show up at all, even though they scheduled. Or like what happened recently is I had a buyer that had written an offer show up unannounced. I've had clients tell me, how come there are people in my garage or in my backyard, or why are they peeking in my window at 9 o'clock at night? Sometimes these homes look so staged that the buyers are assuming nobody lives there. So they take some, what I think are not very courteous liberties by going up on the property and peeking in the window and stuff like that. So don't be surprised by that. But don't let them in. If you happen to confront them and they're like, oh, I saw this online, I really like to see it, do not let them in unless they're with a licensed agent. Okay. And you have their contact information. Also, a lot of agents will tell you, oh, make it available for showing all the time. You want to make it available the moment the agent demands to see it. But what you may not know is some agents are setting up times that are convenient for the agent, not the buyer. Okay. Make it work for you. So I tell people, all right, let me know what are the no-go times for showings. Maybe that's early in the morning, which we don't see too many early in the morning showings. But now that the days are getting longer, we do see some late at night showings. You can say no. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's great if you have cameras up. Just saying. And so I generally will tell sellers, look, restrict the showings and the schedule to make it work for you. If the buyer, based on the marketing that we do, if the buyer really wants to see it, make it work for you and they will make time to be there. Okay, and what if you get an offer, and this is something to do with showings, that they say is contingent on their home selling? Well, tell me, Richard, you're a home seller, and I come to you and go, Richard, I have this offer contingent on a home selling that's not on the market yet, and she doesn't know what she's going to price the home at. Will you please reserve your house for this large maybe buyer?
Wow. Tell me that sort of thing does not happen. Does that really happen, Barb?
Every week. It's so frustrating for me. I've even gone so far to tell the agents, look, you don't have a buyer yet. They get mad at me when I say that, but they don't. The buyer can't buy. However, it's wonderful that they like that property. We don't really want to discourage them. And we have solutions for them. We have lenders that could come in and pay cash for their dream home and give them time after to sell their current home. And I'll share it with other agents, not just my own clients. But, I think that it's 1 month of school to be a real estate agent. Not everybody knows about all the programs. So we absolutely have solutions. We have a trade up program. We have a cash offer program. We have 3 or 4 buy before you sell programs where we can solve those issues, because most home sellers don't want uncertainty, meaning they accept a contract, but they don't know when they're going to get to the finish line because they're waiting for some other house to sell. And when you pile on top of that, not just their house selling, but they also have to get a loan and go through the whole process on your home. So you're really worried about two buyers when you take a contingent offer, and we can help you with that. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
So, Barb, what are some other things that home sellers really should do before they allow their home to be shown to others?
Well, impressions absolutely do matter. Buyers are super picky. If you've got old tired carpet, I would recommend that you replace it. I mean, you can do a credit, but it's not as impressive as just replacing it. And I've heard the stories about, well, but I replaced the carpet and then my neighbor told me they just took that out and put something else in. It's okay. You got it sold if that's the point. Make sure you neutralize any dramatic colors, remove heavy furniture, excess furniture, put away bath plungers, bath rugs, toiletries. Try not to let cars be parked outside. And in general, you want an experienced agent that's done this before. Also, please don't use air fresheners. Those are absolutely overwhelming. I had somebody in my family that was actually allergic to those things. So I had to do the Bloodhound Nose recon before I showed him homes every time, so she didn't get sick when she went in. Make sure you fix broken stuff. Inspectors are hitting on every house now that if the smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors are more than 10 years old, they should be replaced for, quote, safety. So just be aware of those things, and you could get ahead of this. Some of these things you can actually do yourself. And generally, buyers won't look at homes if they're not marketed correctly. So make sure that if you do hire another agent, that you're absolutely making sure that it's marketed correctly. If the pictures are right and the data is right, all that stuff is absolutely critical, because you have that short window to make an impression with the buyer, and they really do need to visualize themselves living in the home. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. One more little thing about offers. If they're not a contingent offer and they make a lowball offer, please don't reject them. Perhaps you should counter them with what you will accept, because a lot of buyers don't like rejection. So if you're working with them, it's okay. And you never know what a buyer will pay. You also never know if their real estate agent jumped in there and said, oh, it's not worth that much. This is a weak market. I would offer this much. But the buyer really wants the house. So try not to get in the way and get too indignant about it. If you work with them, sometimes it will work out. And I've had it happen many a time. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the top seller mistakes that can actually cause a home not to sell. Plus, Barb's hot new listings. Don't miss that.